if you look at your bulletin today, I want to talk about some things. We talk about emotions, we talk about friends and everything like that. They are good, but I'm sure you know sometimes from some of your friends or people you might think are your friends, you see them one way and they're not necessarily that way. And you look at things and it's not necessarily that way. On your bulletin I put a little optical illusion, okay? And you look at your bulletin, all the lines don't look straight. It looks like it's all going in towards the middle point. Does it not? Mm-hmm. But all the lines are straight. They're straight lines, there's no curve, there's no slant. But where the dots are, it redirects your eyes and it makes you think that the straight lines are slanted lines. And it makes you see something that's not there. It makes you feel like the truth is not the truth anymore. And this is our body that's doing this. The picture doesn't change. Our eyes change it. Our minds change it. There's things that go on in our head. It flips images and all the stuff with your eyes. And it distorts this. And today I want to talk about life and ministry and Christ and salvation and our hearts and our intentions, and other things are not exactly what they may appear to be. It's about inspection. We just went through James, and James talked about what it really requires to be following Christ, what it looks like, the difference between the works and the faith and how they work together. And I chose a couple scriptures that emphasize a few things that we need to keep in mind when we are walking through our lives and claiming to be Christians. Because we know everywhere, everybody claims to be a Christian. If you're not a Muslim, you're a Christian. If you're American and you don't really have a religion, you're a Christian. Everybody's a Christian. My first verses are in 1 Samuel. It's chapter 16, and it's verses 4 through 12. I wouldn't mind if somebody else read it for me. Whoever would like to read it. It can be a competition. Whoever gets there first can read it. Oh, cheater. 1 Samuel, chapter 16, verses 4 through 12. And read it nice and loud. Ken Martin.
Okay. Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, "Do you come in peace?" Samuel replied, "Yes, in peace I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me." Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. When they arrived, Samuel saw Eliab and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands before the Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at things man looks at. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Then Jesse called, oh boy, wait till you meet all these. And that, what is it? Abinadab? Right. And had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Jesse then had Shamiah pass by. But Samuel said, "Nor has the Lord chosen this one." Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel. But Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So he asked Jesse, "Aren't these all the sons you have?" "Still the youngest," Jesse answered, "but he is tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent and had him brought in. He was ruddy, with a fine appearance and a handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. He is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David in power. Samuel then went to Ramah.
All right. We got an extra verse, too.
Was it? I thought it was till 14.
No, it's okay. 12. 4 12, but you read 13. That was great. All right. Mark 7, verses 1 through 20. Ken's not allowed to read, so don't say, well, Ken will get there first. He'll read it. Try to get there. Try to read. Mark 7, 1 through 20.
The Pharisees and some of the teachers of the law who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus and saw some of his disciples eating food with hands that were unclean, that is, unwashed. The Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they give their hands a ceremonial washing, holding to the tradition of the elders. When they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash, and they observe many other traditions, such as the washing of cups, pitchers, and kettles. So the Pharisees and teachers of the law asked Jesus, "Why don't your disciples live according to the tradition of the elders instead of eating their food with unclean hands?" He replied, "Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you hypocrites. It is written, 'These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain, and their teachings are but rules taught by men.'" So when?
20.
20, okay.
You got lots of reading.
Okay. "You have let go of the commandments of God and are holding on to the traditions of men." And he said to them, "You have a fine way of setting aside the commands of God in order to observe your own traditions. For Moses said, 'Honor your father and your mother,' and anyone who curses his father or mother must be put to death. But you say that if a man says to his father or mother, 'Whatever help you might otherwise have received from me is Corban,' that is, a gift devoted to God. When you no longer let him do anything for then you no longer let him do anything for his father or mother. Thus you nullify the word of God by your tradition that you have handed down, and you do many things like that." Again, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, "Listen to me, everyone, and understand this. Nothing outside a man can make him unclean by going into him. Rather, it is what comes out of a man that makes him unclean." After he had left the crowd and entered the house, his disciples asked about the parable. "Are you so dull?" he asked. "Do you not see that nothing enters a man from the outside can make him unclean? For it does not go into his heart, but into his stomach, and then out of his body." In saying this, Jesus declared all foods clean. He went on, "What comes out of a man is what makes him unclean. For from within..." No, we did that.
Yeah.
Makes him unclean. Okay.
All right. Those two passages, deal with different things in regard to illusions that men convince themselves of in terms of what religion is, what worship is, what meekness is before God. And they have what they think, and then you have what's true. And Jesus told them the opposite. It's not what you do